Synthetic refineries rework when? That's right, shots fired. I'm saying that synthetic refineries are just too plain old easy, and I think they need to be looked at again to be made maybe more complex, give it some level of depth, and kind of make it less about just gaining free resources. So, first of all, synthetic refineries. What are they? How do you get them? Got to research fuel storage. Then you have to research synthetic oil experiments, and it gives you access to the synthetic refinery. This synthetic refinery will give you 1 rubber for each refinery and also 48 fuel per day per refinery. But the maximum you can build in the state is 3. There you go. 3 in Hanover. You get the idea, right? 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Yeah, you get the idea, right? However, it does unlock the possibility of getting additional 1, 2, 3, 4. So for every refinery, you will get a maximum of 5 rubber. That's a lot of rubber. Next up, you also get access to additional 50% more fuel per refinery, which these technologies. And also, these technologies on the right here, you will also give an extra 10%. So these ones are 50, 50, 50, 50, 10, 10, 10, 10. So they generate a lot of fuel if you max them out. A lot. Actually, an eye-watering amount. So let's just go down the rabbit hole here. Let's just say that we were to build the entirety of our nation up with refineries, literally max it out in every single state. And then let's just take it a step further. Let's just research everything and just see the potential amount of resources that we can gain from this. So this will give us a grand total of 310 rubber. No, I lie. I'm lying. 420 rubber. Maximum of 420. And also, oh, well, the fuel isn't here. Maybe you're looking to fuel here. Yeah, fuel's here. Current fuel is 291 and the daily gain is 9.8. Maybe we've got to wait a day for that one. No, it's roughly around 10k fuel per day. I think that's enough to exercise our entire Navy and also our entire Air Force as well. Yep, we can do that. Fuel consumption is around about 3,000 and the fuel gain is about 10k. There you go. Hey, it's worth it. It looks like the rubber part is significantly stronger than the fuel part. So the history behind this is during World War II, Germany initially stockpiled quite a lot of fuel, a lot of rubber, because they know that was the resource it doesn't have a grand amount of. But eventually, during the war and about the 1940s, it eventually started to move towards synthetic fuel, which is basically converting coal into oil and rubber. Now, why didn't they do that from the beginning? Well, that process is incredibly inefficient. Synthetic oil and synthetic rubber is not something you ever want to do because it will consume a huge amount of resources to be able to convert coal to those said resources. So it's something that's easy to get rubber from around the world and oil around the world than it is to convert using the synthetic oil process. And I think this is the part in Hoi 4 where I feel like it's not reflected very well, because you just build the building and I always joke in my videos that like we've built rubber plantations inside of Hanover, Germany, because we're getting access to a lot of rubber during those regions. I know a lot of you guys kind of get annoyed by that joke, but the joke is the fact that, well, there is no downside. I build the building, it generates an unlimited amount of rubber and oil, and there's kind of like no downside to this process. As I mentioned before, to turn coal into rubber and oil is a huge amount of resources. And in-game, it's just not reflected with that. In-game, to be fair, it's just really easy. Sure, the cost of the building is 14,500 construction cost. That's only like 4,000 or 5,000 more production cost than a civilian factory. So I suppose the easy fix to this would be like try and double the cost of synthetic oil. Or maybe every time you build a synthetic oil refinery, the cost increases by an extra 1,000. Kind of like the way forts work, but not per state basis, but internationally basis. Does that kind of make sense? That'd be like a really easy, nice, soft fix. However, I kind of like the way it works in Hearts of Iron 2. I can't speak for Hearts of Iron 3 because I've never really played it enough. But in Hearts of Iron 2, you had a resource called energy. Energy was kind of like coal, for instance. It was like kind of like electricity. And whenever you build synthetic oil, there will be a slider that moves from left to right. Okay, this is the best screenshot I could find. So this shows the money screen in Hearts of Iron 2. So you add sliders to put money into, let's say, reinforcements or upgrades or production or supplies. I'm not sure if it came in a later version of Hearts of Iron 2, but there was an additional slider for synthetic oil. So you could turn synthetic oil refineries off, which in all offense makes sense because you could stockpile it in Hearts of Iron 2. So what you would do is turn all your synthetic oil for refineries on, generate loads of, let's say, oil or rubber. I think rubber was classed as a precious material, this one here. Generate a large stockpile of it, and then you could turn the refineries off. And whenever the refineries were turned on, it would eat into consumer goods. So you'd have to put more money into consumer goods to keep these factories going because they use an immense amount of power. So now I think about it, it was actually consuming money, not energy, as indicated by this icon. This can be implemented into Hearts of Iron 4 so unbelievably easily. I'll admit there's no stockpiling in Horde 4. So the rubber element is going to be a little bit difficult to implement, but the oil element is going to be perfect. So the way it would work is that you would basically have a button that would basically say minimal usage of synthetic oil, which would eat 5% consumer goods maybe, and then a medium amount of it, which could consume more but would give you more rubber and oil, and then maximum capacity, which would increase consumer goods significantly but would give you the maximum amount of rubber and oil from your refineries. So the idea behind it is you're kind of like stressing your economy to keep these refineries going. And I feel like the only way this could be implemented in the same way it did in Hearts of Iron 2 would be if rubber could be stockpiled the same way fuel could be. So it would lead to instances where I would desperately need oil and rubber. I would turn the refineries on to stockpile it, as you can do with oil currently. And then when maybe you needed more access to your economy, you could drop them down. But then, of course, your Air Force, your Navy, and your land troops would take a hit because you don't have access to significantly as much fuel or the production for your planes, for instance. I suppose what you could do is, depending on how many synthetic refineries you have overall, there could be an equation based upon how many you have and how much capacity you're trying to get out of them, and that would work out a percentage of consumer goods that it would eat into. You guys in the comments who love history, I hear you, you're loud, I hear you. What we could do is historically make those refineries be as demanding as they would on the economy by adding a consumer goods cost behind it. Yes, I get it. That is going to add complexity to the game. And I hear you guys in the comments. It's either the history guys, I want more history, or it's the less complexity guys. You guys are the loudest two people in the comment section. And I feel like for the most part, this applies to history massively. And the complexity isn't too massive either. I just want a situation where I feel like synthetic oil is given justice. It's not just this item that you just build that just gives a flat cost of oil and rubber. Once again, Hearts of Iron 4 is not an economic game. It's not an economic simulator. If you want economic simulators, you want to play Victoria 2 or 3 for that. However, in Hearts of Iron 4, it's more towards the war. So I understand a lot of resource systems and economic systems kind of have to be dumbed down to make an overall more streamlined game experience. Do you think this is a good suggestion? Do you think I've gone too far with this one? Two versions of this that I see in my head. There's a simple version, which just means that every time you build a synthetic refinery, the cost goes up nationally across your nation, no matter where you build it. So potentially it could reach a certain tipping point where refineries are just not cost effective, and it's better to conquer those resources within a set region. Or secondly, we create a system where there's a separate independent slider that eats into consumer goods. One or the other, this is going to make the game way more historically accurate, and it's going to show the stress on the economy for Germany it's going to make, particularly around about Barbarossa and more mid-1940s, to replicate the decline of Germany. If you like this, don't forget to comment and subscribe. If you think this is a good idea or a bad idea, please let me know in the comments below. And if you say this is a bad idea, tell me why. Tell me why. Apart from that, if you enjoy this video is next for you. Give this one a click. Give it a click.